Hi everyone, it is me, Jordan Long here, and today I'm gonna say, you know, when you meet Santa Claus or Holy Fellow Nicholas or Father Yule, because there's many ways it can go down like. There's a way you think it will be in your mind, and then there's truth of how it will, truly happen if you meet him. It comes to your house. Santa Claus. Santa Claus. Holy Fellow Nicholas. Father Yule. Yeah, that's right. I am known by sundriest names. And it's so cool, to get to meet you. Because because folks only get to meet you or see you between the 11th month and the 12th month in Western Christendom and the first month in Eastern Christendom. Yes, that's right. And it's so cool. And I always wonder, how do your reindeer fly? Well, God and Jesus gave them the might and skill and craft to fly, and knowing who's awake and who's asleep. Well, once again, that's God and Jesus. But they only let me know, yes, they're asleep, or yes, they're awake. That's it. To know if someone's been good or bad. Once again, that's God and Jesus, and that's all I know is, yes, they're good, yes, they're bad, and that's it. Well, here's something else I always wanted to know. So, how do you get into houses that do not have a firestead? Because all houses still have smokestacks, but all smokestacks don't go to a firestead. Some go to a heater instead of a firestead. Well, I got this outstanding key that once again God and Jesus gave to me that lets me, go in the main doors of houses to put out the gifts, and then to leave through the main door. If they don't have a firestead, well, that's good to know. So, another thing I want to ask you. Do you truly live at the North Steeple? Well, first off, Jordan, I don't really think that anyone can live in a North Steeple year round. Even though we got, world warming and, it's still truly cold up there in the North Steeple. So, I would say that I live in Greenland, which is the northern half of North Vinland, which is above, right underneath the North Steeple. Well, that's something, So, do you have a list? Oh, yeah, a list of names of the Book of Life, which God and Jesus have, and they let me borrow it sometimes. But really, all it just says is like, here is every, the Book of Life with everyone's good deeds and bad deeds in it. But no, that book, the list I get is just a list of names and what gifts that they want, and that's about it. There's no good list. There's no good list or bad list. You're thinking of the Book of Life, which is God and Jesus' book. Well, that's so cool. Alright, I gotta go and put the gifts underneath the Yule tree, and I'll wish you a happy Yule. Happy Yule too, Santa Claus. And now that's like one way it will go, and I would probably think if Father Yule was a truly man-like being, he would be kind of well known by a lot of folks. And a lot of folks would be asking him all kind of asking things about him. Since, let's keep in mind, Father Yule has so much folklore, and so many folk tales are told about him, you know. And something else that some folks would also ask him is, do you believe in Jesus? Yes, I do believe in God and Jesus. Yes, Jesus is the true grounds for Yule. Yule is onlooking the birth of Jesus. And God so loved the world and so forgave the world, He gave us His only Son. Well, we're all sons and daughters of God, but when I mean His only Son, the one who truly had the skills and craft that only God had. Yes. And you see, God loved us so much and forgave us so much, He was willing to bring us a gift. The gift was His Son Jesus, who you do know that He went out and He healed the sick, the wounded, and the handicapped. He forgave folks for their wrongs. He also taught folks of how to be more kinder and loving and forgiving to each other. He also befriended folks and saw the good in folks, you know, where other folks didn't really want anything to do with any of these folks. But Jesus saw good in them, even though they were all sinners. And even though Jesus was and is the Son of God, a lot of folks did not see it that way. You know, a lot of folks out there, either they loved Him and they cared about Him and they saw Him as a friend, or they wanted nothing to do with Him because they were sinful and He was not. But you know, God loved us so much, God was willing to put Jesus in the bind, and Jesus was willing to go through that bind, so for our sins could be atoned for, so our sins could be washed away, for we could be clean once again, and we could have that stead in heaven through God and through Jesus. So yes, Jordan, I do believe in God and Jesus, and I do worship God and Jesus. And I put out the gifts to onlook God and Jesus for being the gift. And I put the gifts out because the wise men gave gifts to Jesus. I also gave gifts to onlook Jesus for being the gift that God gave to all mankind, womankind. Oh, well, it's good to see you, Father Yule. Good to see you too. So, if you like this film, then follow me over here at the Jordan Long Fairway. Watch the other film I made yesterday over here. I, Jordan Long, or Jordan Mulan Long, and I'll see you later. Goodbye. Farewell.